And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. We're starting a little late, but you know what? I have a very good reason. It's the time change here in the States. We are in daylight savings time now, and the big change happened this past weekend. So we got our times a little lopsy. Uh, well, it's kind of a mundane story, but in the United States, the Senate has now passed a permanent, it still has to be signed into law, but the first level has gone through a permanent daylight savings time change across the states, which is so interesting considering the master of time itself, Saturn, is alive and well in our astrological world in the sign of the people. So we'll see what happens. For one, I think that would be a great thing because we would be able to enjoy more daylight. And well, in any case, welcome, friends. I'm Cassandra Joan Butler, Agent 56 with the wonderful CIA, the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. And I'm so happy to see you in the room. Good evening, my friends. Hello, hello. And see a lot of familiar names. Big hugs and heart to you. We're going to be talking about the astrology of the week. We're going to be talking about the Gibbous cycle that we're in right now and the full moon that takes place very, very early on Friday. And I like to weave in, of course, the stories of the week, right? So this is a big day in so many ways regarding what everyone's focus, of course, is on the Ukraine-Russia conflict. The horrors that's going on in that part of the world is beyond belief. All war is, it's so outdated. It's so awful. It's horrific. So earlier today, President Zelensky addressed the U.S. Congress, and he said something very interesting that maybe you didn't catch. But he was talking about one of the provisions in the negotiations, we'll get to that in a moment, with Russia, that Ukraine, says he, does not want to join NATO. That's off the table. That might help with peace negotiations, we could hope. But he did mention that perhaps there should be an international coalition. And as an Aquarius, Zelensky is an Aquarius, perhaps he said we should do an international coalition for one agenda, and that is to outdate and ban war, to somehow do some very similar, I guess, in principle to the League of Nations after World War I. I don't know. It's something that was seed planted during this Gibbous cycle, but I caught note of that. And then later on the day, of course, Zelensky addressed the U.S. Congress, and President Biden came out with more aid, more money for the Ukraine fight with Russia. Right before I was talking to you, I'm noting some of the headlines among many of the news agencies, and this is very relevant to the Gibbous cycle. And one of the biggest headlines is that there seems to be some hope, some sliver of hope with the peace negotiations that are going on. Nothing set in stone, but there seems to be some optimism that the peace talks are going to yield peaceful results. So let's talk about this Gibbous cycle. The Gibbous is at 4 degrees of Leo in this phase. Please understand, I know many of you are astrologers, but I really take a strong look at the lunations every month. And the time right before the moon crests and is in this beautiful, magnificent full cycle is called Gibbous. And I like to imagine a balloon being blown up with air, right? So at the Gibbous, we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, more light, more illumination. But there's this anticipation for the event of the full moon. And often that bigness is represented by more of an emotional outreaching. Oftentimes people feel more emotional during Gibbous. I have found personally in my work that people are more or less more intuitive, more psychically attuned, because there's this sense that something's going to happen. That is the natural phenomena we call the full moon. So what really caught my eye is that the Gibbous phase that we're in right now, during this sliver of optimism about the peace talks, is taking place with this Sabian symbol, which is called a rocky formations overlooking a large canyon. All right, so just imagine that in your mind, if you will. Large boulders overlooking a chasm, a huge canyon. Seems insurmountable that you can go between the two large rock boulder formations. It seems like there's such a large chasm that can't be yielded and coming to a conclusion. What better way to coincide with peace talks, right? Seemingly the impossible. So the Gibbous at 4 Leo has been opposite Mars. And, as astrologers, we think opposition is conflict and conflict and conflict. And of course, especially one regarding Mars. And we know that what's going on in the Ukraine has accelerated. And I don't have to remind you of the horrors of war. Yet, at the breaking point psychologically between an opposition, sometimes there's a sharing and an empathy that occurs. There's a split, there's a peak, and then there's a super juxtaposition of the two ideologies, and then they come to compromise. So again, we have the chasm, Sabian symbol in effect now, and then we're heading towards the full moon. And I'm going to show you some slides on that full moon in just a moment. I just want to say hello to everybody and greetings to all of you all over the place, all over the world, from Brisbane and Michigan and all around the world. So thank you so much, coming in from New Hampshire, from hi Lynn, hi Ripple. Good evening, friends. I'm glad you're here. I'm very delighted to see your names. Big hugs to you all. Again, if you're new to this, I present a little astrology and then we go into the spiritual messages. And I want to remind you of the spiritual renaissance that's going to be happening on this planet, and a planet near you, on April 12th, right? And I can't say enough about this, because many of you who know me, I work as a psychic medium and also as an astrologer, and I like to integrate both skills. So what happens on the 12th of April is that Jupiter and Neptune they conjunct at 23 degrees of Pisces. Now, the last time they were in Pisces was in 1856, and that was the start of the Renaissance of the late 19th century, when people were really reacting against the Industrial Revolution. The first one, we have another one, it's called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. If you talk to the folks at the World Economic Forum and so forth, we are in a revolution of technology. Certainly everyone would agree to that. But it's so beautiful that the cosmos has given us an opportunity to investigate, to observe, to absorb the Piscean realm as of the 12th of April. Well, how wonderful is this, is that your friends at the CIA, Cosmic Intelligence Agency, and I left a link for you, are holding a conference to explore all of these amazing Piscean Jupiter-Neptune signatures and themes. And by the way, this is not just a one and done. This cycle is going to be unfolding for 14 years. So everyone alive now is going to be partaking within a spiritual renaissance. So the Cosmic Intelligence Agency is going to do the cosmic renaissance. And that starts on March 30th. And it takes place on 2 weekends. And friends, look, even if you can't attend physically all of these sessions, and they're going to be amazing sessions, we're going to be doing dreams. We're going to be doing the history. We're going to be doing the meaning of the astrology. I'm going to be doing some psychic work with you all. I'm actually going to do some hands-on spiritual work during the sessions. In other words, I'm going to be pushing you to your right brain limit and sharing some work that I've been doing for over 20 years on ways to use your own personal natal chart to kind of trigger your psychic intuitive gifts. We all have them. And so I'm really excited about presenting that. Saul is doing a work on dreams. We're going to be doing tarot. It's going to be a potpourri of spiritual gift giving to you all. So please consider coming to the Cosmic Renaissance kickoff. is on March 30th, and then 2 subsequent weekends. And you get all the videos. So you don't have to actually be in the room. You can learn and learn forever by using the videos and the tools given to you by the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. So I left a link for you all, and I hope to see you all there. It's going to be great. Back to today with that Gibbous cycle, like I said, there's a sliver of hope that we're going to have some peace talks that are going to be positive, and that's coinciding with the Gibbous cycle. And what was very interesting, like I said, I heard some other news reports. This is from WBEN News. Apparently for this news source, Russia is really not doing well on the front. According to one source, more Russian soldiers have died in the Ukraine than all American military personnel in the 2 wars of the Iraqi war and Afghanistan war. And along the same lines, many of the generals have been lost to war, many of the Russian generals, apart from all of the terror inflicted upon civilians. So there's a lot going on in the world, and you may be feeling in your own world that anticipation, that emotional outreaching with the Gibbous cycle that's taking place right now. So let's talk about the full moon. That's our focus tonight. And then we'll do our spiritual messages during Gibbous, which is a good time to do them. So I'm going to add some slides here to the stream. And so we're still under the cycle of Pisces, but therefore, of course, our moon will be in Virgo. And it takes place on, let me give you the exact date, on the 18th of March, and this is an Eastern Daylight Time. Yes, we went to Daylight Time here in the States this past weekend. So we have the moon in conjunct Aries. What's Aries? Chaos and difficulty, and we're certainly seeing that. It's also in conjunct Saturn. What do we have then? We have a beautiful yod. The moon is the handle of the bucket of this full moon chart. So everything is going through the emotional body of Virgo. Virgo's what? Virgo's service. Virgo is purity. Virgo is wanting what's right, what's perfect. And that in conjunct taking on Aries, chaos and craziness, and Saturn, which is the rules, is really in our face, in our own personal lives, and on the world stage. We have the moon trining the North Node. Anything with the North Node is about a new pathway, a new way of doing things, new contacts, new appreciating new information. So that's another important aspect of this moon trine the North Node. Yeah, well, the moon is exactly square chaos, the asteroid chaos. Emotionally, we're being exhausted. Even if we're not in front of a television set and watching what news we can get from the Ukraine, we are feeling the chaos and the Aries energy in our own emotional bodies. War is obsolete. It really is in this day and age. And again, I direct the comments of Zelensky saying perhaps we should form a new international body whose own agenda is about letting go of war, somehow moving past that. The moon is trining Pluto. Wow. So this full moon is just ripe with some moving forward from the chaos, from the Aries, and from the Plutonian energy getting beneath the surface. It's ripe for a turning around of what's happening there in the Ukraine and perhaps in our own lives. Anytime we see Pluto being activated, it reminds us of the collective journey we've all been on in the past 2.5 years regarding the elites, the governing bodies, the powers that be, and seeing them through different eyes. So this is a very, very important full moon for all of us. The Sabian symbol, many 2 words for me to read, but I want to direct your attention to one of our favorite Australian astrologers, Linda Hill, who modernize the interpretation of the Sabian symbols many years ago. This is directly from her website, and I have the link right there on the slide. And please go to it because this is amazing. This Sabian symbol for the full moon is a bald-headed man in uniform takes control. Who is taking control on the full moon? Well, use your imagination here. So the uniform may give him more of a perceived power than perhaps he should have or deserves to have. This is an amazing Sabian symbol for the collective issue of the day. And the caution here is pushing too hard or too fast. I think we may have some breaking points under this full cycle. And by the way, it's easy to get to her site if you want to read this entire Sabian symbol. You simply don't use 4 degrees of Leo. For the Sabian symbols, you always go up a degree. All right, so then this is a beautiful description of the Sabian symbol. Okay, this may be the time to seize power and to push forward with decisions that need to be realized and grounded now. Again, apply this to your own life where you find 27 degrees of Virgo in your chart. So you want to Google this, you do 28. I hope you all understand. So when you're working with Sabian symbols, you go up a degree because there's no Sabian symbol for 0. And we have 360 degrees in our Sabian symbols. Yes, I like what you just said, Maria, out of chaos and into the powerful light. Yes. And greetings to everybody here. Then, yes, you get to be in control. I mean, we apply this in any way. Symbols are symbols, right? Like you just take a look at a beautiful piece of art. You want to interpret it in your own way. So these are word pieces of art. They're word symbols. But sometimes they're so amazingly relevant, it just takes your breath away. All right, so next week, just to be aware, friends, we start the week with a Scorpio moon, and that creates a fixed T-square. And where you find fixity, right, the fixed sign, Scorpio, Taurus, Uranus is going to be in Taurus. The moon is going to be in Scorpio, and we have the litany of Aquarius energy. So all this moon in Scorpio squaring Mars, Venus, Saturn, and opposite to Uranus. So fixed T-square is this energetic pattern which wants to do something, wants to take the lead. Some of you, most of you probably have a T-square somewhere in your chart. It's the most frequent astrological signature in most common astrological signature, and it gets things done. But this is fixed, so we may be encountering in our own lives or on the world stage a lot of stubbornness. All right, so be aware. That's how we start next week off. Also on Monday, Mercury is going to be conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter is about freedom, right? Jupiter is all about freedom, and so we're going to be having that message of freedom over power, manipulation, and control as Monday starts the week off. On Tuesday, then we have a square between Mars and Uranus. Anything and everything can happen in your own life or on the world stage. It's explosive. Mars, of course, is war. Uranus is unexpected. So that's a little bit of a difficulty just to be aware of that particular energy on Tuesday. And then we get kind of Neptuned out on Wednesday. Mercury and Neptune are together in the sky. We may be feeling, my goodness, what has just happened? We may be feeling a little depleted, mentally overwhelmed. I just want to be the messenger for you and let you know what the aspects are. Until next Wednesday when I meet with you again. All right, so those are our slides for tonight. And I'm going to go through each and every one. Okay. Stefani, yes. When we work with astrology, please understand that even what I'm doing with you on Wednesday nights is like astrology light. Your chart, everyone's personal chart, is quite complex, but it has the same ingredients. Everyone's chart has 12 signs within the chart. Some of you have more planets in a particular configuration. So what I just said is applicable to everyone, but especially if you have, for example, fixed signs, Stefani. And I would really encourage you all, if you are brand new to astrology, to check out the offerings at the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. This wonderful organization offers memberships and amazing webinars and beginners classes, right? So, so what I'm about to do now is a little Reader's Digest, a little astrology light. It's called Based on Your Solar Chart. It's based on your sun sign. So it's inclusive to everyone. But if you know your ascending sign, a rising sign, you'll be able to get more information out. So as I go through all 12 signs, also blend it with your rising sign. The rising sign is the sign that was dominant in the East as you were taking your first breath. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go through the 12 signs. Aries or Aries rising, this full moon is illuminating, because that's the job of a full moon, is to illuminate and give you a different perspective. So think of the full moon cycle as a time when you receive information that you didn't already know about. You can see in the dark in the full moon. So for Aries or Aries rising, you're seeing in the dark regarding your work and ways to make yourself healthier. You're seeing techniques or avenues to become maybe more healthy using nutrition or movement and exercise, or in your workplace, becoming more efficient when you're doing your work. If you're Taurus or Taurus rising, and blend both, you are enjoying this full moon in the house of creativity and play. So you Tauruses might be saying to yourself, I need a break. I need to get out and just, I don't know, pick your passion, go for a walk, do an arts and crafts project, go to the play outside, or go to a play inside, go to the theater, whatever it might mean for you, Taurus. This is a time when you want to break out of your habit patterns and have a little fun with the full moon. For Gemini or Gemini rising, the full moon is illuminating anything to do with family, maybe bridging gaps with your family members, or maybe taking a look around where you're living and saying, I need to make some changes. I'm seeing the dust bunnies in my home. I need to make some really strong changes with making my home more pleasurable, whether it means, work in the home or cleaning or what have you, or working on relationships with family members. If you're Cancer or Cancer rising, this full moon is illuminating your communication skills and helping you organize your timetable. Perhaps you've been wanting to work less or work more, or build into your schedule a more balanced life. So this is the time to do that, of all the times of the year for Cancers or Cancer risings. For Leo or Leo rising, the full moon is illuminating what you want to do regarding your sense of self-worth, your value, and your income. Might be a great time for the Leos to ask for a raise if you're self-employed, to maybe, make your prices up a little bit more, whatever that might mean for you, Leo. For Virgo or Virgo rising, this energy is really highlighting who you are and how you are managing your life. It's basically applauding you. You're the spotlight, Virgo. You're taking more of a leadership role, Virgo. You're spending time, and you're typically, the Virgo energy could be a little humble, but sing your praises, Virgo. This is a great time for Virgos to take the lead with this full moon. If you're Libra or Libra rising, it's almost the opposite. Libras might want to spend some time and rest, or meditate, or get away from the maddening crowd. Do something behind the scenes, Libra, this upcoming full moon week. For Scorpio or Scorpio rising is about your friends, your groups, your associations, and spending time with the people that really matter, the people that you identify with. For Sagittarius or Sagittarius rising, this full moon is illuminating your career and asking you to take more of a leadership role in whatever you're doing, or maybe even visualize what you'd like to do different in your career ahead. For Capricorn or Capricorn rising, this full moon energy is reminding you that life is about an adventure. So the Capricorns might be making some plans to take a trip, or maybe even doing a trip, or teaching, or learning something new, expanding your horizons. Those are the key words for the Caps. For Aquarius or Aquarius rising, and I will remind you that President Zelensky is a Aquarius, this is the particularly strong full moon for self-empowerment through empowering other people. So if you're an Aquarius, you might be empowering others at your job or in your home or your family. You may also be looking at your financials, the long-term haul of financials for you Aquarius people. For Pisces or Pisces rising, this full moon is illuminating your significant others. Who are your BFFs? Who are your best friends? Who's your spouse? Who are the people in your life, Pisces, you can really, really, truly count on? And that's what the full moon is going to give you a message about that. All right. Very good. So I'm thanking you for being in the room. I'm thanking you for your feedback. And like what Taylor just said, he's hitting the gym after a 4-month pause. I'm going to send you positive vibes in that way. Very good. And you know, we all have our goals. The full moon is a fulfillment of that goal. All right. Oh, I am excited, Ben. I'm just happy to see you guys. Right. So now we're going to shift gears. We're going to shift gears, and what we're going to be doing is the spiritual message work. And please, a reminder, I sound like a little broken record, but I'm so enthusiastic about the cosmic renaissance. Join us. Join us. You'll be learning about this new 14-year cycle, friends, that only happens once. I'm not get the right date. Well, it was 1856. It was last in Pisces. Jupiter Neptune comes together every 14 years. And we've been living under the umbrella of 2009's Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, which was basically deifying Aquarius. And what's a function of Aquarius? It's technology, right? In 2009, how many people were actively doing Zoom and Facebook? Not a lot. Facebook was born in 2004. But the point is, 2009, we had this Aquarian energy that we're all experiencing now. It shifts April 12th. Learn all about it during the Cosmic Renaissance. All right. Now, I want you to just all relax and enjoy. I do 2 messages. I'd love to do everyone's message tonight. But by the way, I am doing a class tomorrow online. If any of you are interested, I do my offerings. I do my psychic stuff a lot during the Gibbous Cycle. I'm just going to throw my website there. You're very welcome to join the class, and I do spiritual messages for everyone in the class. And so, like I said, I'm going to be teaching all of you how to do that, how to trigger and ignite your own personal energy as we go through the Cosmic Renaissance. And that's taking place. Kickoff, like I said, is March 30th. Okay, I appreciate you too, Jennifer. Okay, there is our link for our Cosmic Renaissance. I'm going to shift gears in just a moment. Hello there, Agent 12. Can you come into the stream with us? I can add you. That'd be awesome. Hi, Julia. Hi. Oops, I can't hear you, honey. Oh, I can't hear you because my headsets aren't on. That's why. I don't have a headset. I've just been chattering away. But Julia, I was just telling everybody about the Cosmic Renaissance and how it's kicking off on March 30th. So. Oh, guess what, my dear Julia? It looks like there's no audio. We can't hear you, sweetie. I don't know why. It might be from your end, but I thought it was just me. I don't know. Okay. So I'm sorry. I can imagine what Julia was saying, however. Still can't hear you, Julia. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Can't hear. All right. So what I'll do is I'm can everyone hear me right now? I'm going to finish up our session tonight, and I'm going to do the psychic spiritual messages. And again, I want to emphasize. I was reading Julia's lips. I can imagine what she was saying. All right, this is what we're going to do. Check out the Cosmic Renaissance, and I'm going to teach you to do what I do every Wednesday night with you using your chart. So I say my prayer. I'm going to close my eyes and use my finger to pick someone, pick two people, and here we go. Dear God, please allow me to serve. Please allow my words be filled with love and light, truth, inspiration, and healing, the highest and best, as we align ourselves with the holiest of spirits. Amen. Okay, so I'm going to Chastity. I picked you, my dear. Are you still in the room? Chastity. Okay. All right. And Chastity, as I'm tuning into your energy, I'm feeling that you may have been feeling very, very overwhelmed in the past 2.5 months. Thank you, Chastity, acknowledging that. Hello. And because there's a lot of, this is with your business. It feels that you are being pushed and pulled in a million different ways. And Spirit is reminding you that perhaps selecting one or two avenues might be more lucrative and more efficient than spreading yourself thin with your services or products. Okay, this is what I'm getting. And they might be doing a new launch. And really, Chastity, I'm going to suggest that you earmark the new moon that's coming up in Aries, April 1st, to launch a particular product or service and really ignite it on the 12th during the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. I'm also picking up with you. I'm getting some concern about a trip that you've been on the dock for a while. You want to take a family trip, but it's been postponed because of the big CV, right? The crisis of the COVID virus. And you're wondering, should we go on it because of funds and so forth? But there's going to be another more enjoyable and less expensive trip as we get towards the end of the summer, late August, right before school starts, late August. I'm also getting a message from your grandfather in spirit. And this is actually, I'm sorry, it's your grandfather-in-law. This is your spouse's grandfather, who had a lot of traits as your significant other has. He was self-taught. He was very funny and very wise. And he's giving you a vote of confidence with blazing ahead with your dreams. He says, because the greatest freedom is someone who's able to create their own reality with their own business. And I leave that with God's blessings for you, Chastity. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you for the feedback, my dear. All right. So I'm going to do one more little read here for you, friends. Now, notice when I'm doing this, I'm giving you a sneak preview of the Cosmic Renaissance psychic attunement that I'll be teaching. I have to consciously relax my body. And one of the techniques to consciously relax the body is placing your fingers on your solar plexus. I know I have a lot of healers in the room. The solar plexus can actually respond to light touch right around your tandem, which is the centerpiece of your body. All right. Okay, one more. All right. Linnell Hayes, I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you, Linnell. All right, I'm with Linnell. And thank you. You're still in the room, yes? Okay. All right, Linnell. As I'm tuning into your energy, I'm seeing like the aurora borealis. I'm seeing a lot of lights in the sky. I don't know if you've ever seen the aurora borealis. If you've ever been to Iceland or Alaska, I have no idea. But I'm seeing like a light show in the sky. And I'm going to interpret that, Linnell, that you are, number one, a light worker, and number two, that you really are in tuned and entrained to the stars, to astrology, that perhaps you observe them. There's nothing more powerful and wonderful for you than to being outdoors and observing the great constellations. And when I say light worker, it means that you are consciously trying to share your gifts, not just for yourself and your family, but for the world. And it feels to me that you're also working very diligently on embracing and improving your gifts and teaching others. You might not feel that you're ready to teach others, but at the same time, you're being prepared to do that. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm just a messenger. I have no idea. All right. But as you are working with your own skill set, the word confidence comes to mind. You just need a little bit refinement of confidence so that you can help lead other people as well. I'm feeling very strongly, look where your Pisces falls in your chart, and you can absolutely positively be enhanced with this beautiful conjunction and teach other people how to tap into their creativity. I'm also seeing art and music with you as well, Linnell, and I'm feeling very, very positive that this is going to be a very beneficial month for you. And then as we get into June, there's a lot of dispersion of your gifts in a teaching environment. June and also September for you, Linnell. Okay. And so thank you so much for being here tonight. All right. All right. Thank you, friends, for all being here tonight. I really appreciate sharing with you on a weekly basis. And oh, Julia, can you put that up again? I can't quite hear you, honey, but I want to
add. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yay. Okay.
I was tuned into the Mexican radio that I was on before, so my settings were a bit different than I usually hear. But first of all, I just want to thank you, Cassandra, for all you do. You're amazing with your dedication as a CIA agent to these weekly sessions that so many people love and tune into every week. So thank you so much. But yeah, let's talk about the cosmic renaissance. You've mentioned it a few times, and it's definitely an amazing seeding point for all of us, whichever way we might look at what's going on in the world, the chaos that surrounds us. There is something amazing brewing. I think from, what you just mentioned about, a new kind of order to deal with war, these kind of things, that are sort of brewing under the surface, are things that we can hope for what comes out of this in the longer term, because it's such a long-term signature. It's not just about March and April 2022, is it?
Not at all. That's an important word, is seeding. We have this opportunity because we're all alive during this time. We're not going to ever go back to 1856. So this is our time to seed our spiritual compassion. It's not just about psychic development, but that's a part of it, I think. But it's about compassion and expanding goodness, and as we the people can make a difference. We're seeing all the old order tumbling down, and I think people are fed up and emotionally being led to make a difference.
Yeah. So from the kind of COVID days of fear, now we're in this kind of emotional, tsunami of the extremes. But the Pisces shows the extremes. It does really show the extremes from, the wonder that's happening to the despair, that so many people are going through. So again, remembering that Pisces is so multifaceted as well, isn't it?
It is.
So maybe I'll share the screen about our cosmic renaissance, because Cassandra's a big part of it as well. And we're starting off. I'm sorry, my head's kind of disappearing like very Pisces without this green screen behind me. But we're really going to connect to the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces and where it is in our charts. So that's the session that I'm leading first. So we'll look at a bit at the history to kind of move up to where we are now with Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, and also in our chart, so we can really focus on, I mean, Cassandra, I'm not sure about you, but everyone around me has become so creative.
Yes.
I'm just seeing like everyone's like tapping back into what they did years ago, but it's all about creativity, art, making jewelry, music. I'm not sure of how many of you out there are feeling that, at the moment, with so much going on.
One of my favorite lines is that creativity is love in action. So when you can do something and lose your ego or sense of self or sense of time and just envelop to that beautiful sense of creation. And
yes,
that's part of the seeds that we're planting here.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So, and of course, Pisces is the most fertile of the signs and the end of the zodiac of all the signs. So therefore, the end before the new beginning. So again, it also ties into, Pluto moving out of Capricorn next year. It's like it's a binding time that affects all of us as well, isn't it? So it's quite profound these days we're living through, everyone. So my session is on a Thursday in Australia, Wednesday night, so that we've got a few days before the next session, which is with Patricia Walsh. And she's called it Shooting Arrows in the Fog. And it's very much about spiritual tuning with her. And so really connecting to the spiritual, let's say, evolution that we're going through by connecting to our story, to our personal story and narrative that's going on during this timing. And Patricia is an amazing facilitator. If anyone knows, many of you would know her already. She will take you on a great journey of discovery through that session. Yes. And then the next day, we've got wonderful Cassandra. Tell us a bit about what you're doing. We're psychic tuning ourselves with you.
Sure. Of course, Julia. Well, so I think a lot of people know this about, I wear these two hats. I call them the right and left brain. I've been a lifelong astrologer and grew up near the Lilydale Assembly. So I had a lot of opportunity to learn about mediumship and psychic work. I have discovered some little nuggets about our charts, friends, right? We actually have within us, it's not just the Pisces part of who we are, but we have clairvoyant, clairaudient, empathy, and clairsentient skills within our bodies. So I'm going to be giving you a little exercise. It's going to be a hands-on spiritual psychic attunement or entrainment to prepare us for this new era that's beholded on the 12th. So I hope we can work with that.
And what a great person to do that for us. As you can tell, Agent 56 is very connected out there, isn't she? And do you remember Cassandra and Patricia? Patricia Bell invited me to Lilydale 3 years ago. It was wonderful. And we found out that Lilydale birthed in I can't remember the year, 1896 or something like that, or 85, has a 0 Virgo sun, which is the same as the CIA. So there's these connections for very cosmic people being 0 Virgo sun. So I love that connection. Yes. And then the week after, so we've got enough time to integrate, and let's, again, not like having a conference that's all in one weekend where there's just so much intake and then you kind of forget to go back to it. That's what I find. It's like, there's so many things I need to go back to. So we've spread it out over those 2.5 weeks. And then we have part 4, which is the one with the wonderful Ursula Stopter, who is in Mexico. She's an artist. She's an amazing astrologer and researcher. And so she has been researching the history of different tarot decks in the world and the great symbolism that we find through the tarot that is connected to astrology. And of course, if we do astrology, it's all very much about a symbolic language that we're working with. So that is going to sort of fine tune your connection to a creative aspect and a very symbolic nature that we find in tarot. And the art of the tarot. Mm-hmm. And then we finish up quite, I think, what do you call it? Suitably with the astrology of dreams and dream work with Sol Jonasson. And so we're going to be exploring the inner world of dreams and how they reflected in the outer world and vice versa. So for those of you that know Sol Jonasson, she's also another great facilitator that will take us through our dream life throughout.
That's going to be so exciting. It really
so it's a really great event, guys, and really for all of you that are CIA members or agents, you can join us for 20% off. All the recordings will be available for you perpetually and to download, so you can, let's say, retrain with all of that. And it's coming up March the 30th, so do book in. We'd love to have you.
I'd love to have you all. I mean, it's going to be a wonderful event. I'm so grateful to Julia for putting this together. Julia, by the way, is the mother of the CIA. Is that the
mother of the CIA? Yes, that's right. With my Pisces moon, I can mother so many people.
Right. Yes, the world.
Anyway, well, thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. And of course, Cassandra will be back same time, same channel next week.
Yes. And speaking of dreams, maybe do a little intention work before you go to sleep. If you're in Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday night before the full moon, or wherever you fall in the world, my friends, because this full moon is really triggering our dreams. Perfect timing for, again, this renaissance that's happening.
Yes. Well, conscious dreams and unconscious dreams are very important at this time.
Seeding.
So blessings to everyone. Thank you. And thank you especially to Agent 56. And
my pleasure.
See you soon.
See you next week.
All the best,
Many blessings.
Everyone.
Thanks. Bye.